Pokemon Silver was my favorite Pokemon game as a kid. The Johto region will always hold a special place in my heart because of all the memories and excitement it brings. And if you grew up like me, you also watched the TV show and hoped that one day Ash would become champion. So that brings up a good question. Could Ash's Johto team become strong enough to beat the Elite Four in the Johto region? Today we are testing that theory. And not only will we be using Ash's team, even at their respective evolutions, this will also be a Nuzlocke, but not a hardcore one because we're already at a disadvantage. Welcome to the SoulSilver Ash Ketchum Nuzlocke Challenge. Our journey begins as I name our character Ash to fit the theme of the video, and we start fresh in New Barktown. I catch this creep peeping into the window of the lab, and we proceed to pay a visit to Professor Elm. I get to pick my first Pokemon. In the show, Ash's team consisted of Bayleaf, Cyndaquil, and Totodile. So since I won't be allowed to evolve Cyndaquil or Totodile, I'm going to choose Chikorita so that I can evolve it into Bayleaf. Chikorita is secured, and I name it Blender. See if you can guess the nickname theme throughout the video. We travel past Route 30 to obtain the mystery egg and return it to the lab. It is now already time for our first rival battle. We're able to take down the Cyndaquil after a few exchanges of growling and tackles. There's only one name to fit the bill here, and that's Gary. So I tattled on him at the lab, and Lyra taught me how to catch Pokemon. That means it's officially time to catch our first teammate, which happens to be a Weedle. Crockpot is the first honorary member of the squad in this run. Arriving at Violet City, we need to visit Sprout Tower where Crockpot evolves and Gary is bullying an old man on the top floor. We defeat Elder Lee as well, despite having a pretty minuscule team at this point. This victory gives us access to the first gym battle against Faulkner. But first, we're able to evolve Crockpot, so now we have a Beedrill. This is the game plan. We're sending Beedrill in first, which still knows Harden. So the only thing his Pidgey can do is use Tackle and Sand Attack. So I'm going to try and get my defense as high as possible and then get a poison on Pidgeotto. So I did just that. Many Hardens later, my accuracy has been dropped, but we're still able to land a Fury Attack on Pidgey. I ended up having to switch into Blender for the knockout. The Gust hurts, but I did end up getting the Poison Powder off. Luckily, Blender knows the synthesis, so we're able to hang in there. A super close call here, but we get a potion off and get Pidgeotto low enough to be KO'd by poison damage. Faulkner admitted defeat, and we are en route to Azalea Town, where Chikorita evolved. Unfortunately, this is the end of the road for that evolution line, as Ash did not evolve his Bayleaf in the animated series. On another note, I forgot to grab an encounter, so I doubled back to Route 31 and picked up a Hoot, which we named Microwave. Into the Slowpoke well, where Kurt got hurt, so I went in and handled business while he iced his back. Now that Team Rocket's taken care of, we can battle our second gym leader, Bugsy. I've decided that I'm going to lead with Bayleaf. It's a risky move because he leads with Scyther, who could use U-turn, and that could lead to bad things, but I'm going to take the chance and try and get the poison powder off. Fortunately, Scyther used focus energy, so we're safe for another turn. We land the poison powder and switch into the Crockpot. I changed my mind a couple times, but I was trying to bait the U-turn so Crockpot could take it, and it worked. When he sends Metapod out, we get a chance to reset. Our defense is now maxed out, so all that's left to do is Fury Attack. Sadly enough, he used the Super Potion at 1 HP, so it took a little longer than expected, but we got it. Although by the time Scyther came back out, we were in good shape, and between my high defense and poison damage, Scyther is down. A couple more Fury Attacks later, and that is a win. The Togepi egg hatched, but we cannot use it, so into the box it goes. I barely got out of the town when Gary challenged me at the gate. Ghastly gets smoked with a couple Razor Leaf attacks, Zubat loses to Fury Attack, and Quilava luckily got poisoned and finished off with an uproar from our new Microwave. I chased some Farfetch'd in Elix Forest, and this guy taught Blender how to use Headbutt before reaching Goldenrod City. We helped Whitney pass the radio tests so she could head back to the gym, and it's now time for the third gym battle. And this is usually my downfall in SoulSilver Nuzlocks, Whitney's Miltank. But I'm prepared this time. I'm not scared of the cow. First, we're putting Clefairy to sleep and setting up a wall for whatever physical attacks come our way. Microwave starts an uproar, and the scariest part about Clefairy is Metronome. You never know what she's gonna use. Pivoting into Crockpot, I decide to finish her off with the Twin Needle. We gotta go for another Twin Needle and hope for the poison once again. I don't know how I keep getting so lucky with the poison, but I'm not complaining about it one bit. Plot twist, Miltank has a Lumberry and we're in the red. Good thing I'm the luckiest trainer alive and Blender is tagged in. As long as she doesn't use a super potion. Bruh. Even the super potion couldn't save her, and I'm surprised we didn't see so much as one rollout attack. What a battle. A tale of love, poison, cows, kitchen appliances, you name it. After I wiped the board with Whitney, she wiped her tears, and I take what is rightfully mine, the third gym badge. Through National Park and Route 36, Microwave evolves, and we use the squirt bottle we got in Goldenrod to awaken Sudowoodo and continue on our journey. We find ourselves in Ecruteak City, where the 3 legendary dogs are in the basement of the burned tower, and Gary is waiting for me right around the corner. I'm leading with Crockpot because I taught her a new move called Pursuit, which does a lot of damage to Gary's Ghastly, and the rest of the battle was light work. This next part is important because Route 32 is where I'll find Heracross by headbutting these trees. Just like any other Nuzlocke, I only get my first encounter to catch it. Otherwise, I have to just move on. Haha! Part of my plan was to poison it, and it came down to the last chunk of HP. If the catch succeeds, I get it. If not, no Heracross. Everyone welcome Can Opener to the squad. The 4th gym battle is now underway. Microwave is our main here and starts off by nuking Ghastly with 1 confusion. She lands the Hypnosis on Haunter, which buys us a couple of turns, and confusion takes it out. Her Gengar is next, and our luck continues as Hypnosis lands again. It's time to start hitting it with confusion since it's super effective, but this Gengar is holding a Citrus Berry, so it does heal as soon as it gets below half HP. Gengar was still snoozing after that snack, so I went for another attack, and what do you know, we landed a crit. Only 1 more Haunter left, and it should be pretty easy. So after a couple of confusions, we finish a clean sweep against Morty with nothing but a Knockdown. The Fog Badge is ours. After this gym battle, I realized we were missing a crucial piece of this challenge. Ash had a Pikachu in every single season. So I found a way to import a Pichu that will evolve eventually, and started to train it up on our way through Route 38 to Olivine City. This is where we found out Jasmine's Ampharos is sick, so we sail across the water to Cianwood, where we run into our pal Suicune again. Eugene gets jealous and picks a fight, but we kick his butt, and finally, we can battle Chuck, the fighting type leader. This is the first time we're leading with Heracross for a gym battle. He's the best choice because he knows Aerial Ace, which is a flying type move, and it also never misses. So there we go, maybe 1 or 2 of these, and that should be all taken care of. And as long as this next one hits, which I don't think Aerial Ace misses. Poliwrath is the next and last Pokemon here. We just need to tank a Surf. Poliwrath tightens its focus, and we land the Powder. Since we let it live, Focus Punch is going to hit hard. Blender in the red, it's time to switch out, and Can Opener walks right into a Focus Punch. A couple exchanges later, we are a sneeze away from victory, so we send in Microwave to finish the job. And Chuck uses a potion. Luckily, we put up a Reflect in time for the Focus Punch, and Poliwrath is also super weak to confusion. GG's, Chuck. We can now fly, and we heal the sick Ampharos, and the Safari Zone is unlocked. We're going to need this to capture a Pokemon we need. But first, I completed the Safari Guys challenge, and we'll have to come back later. In the meantime, Jasmine's little guards let me slide because of my acts of kindness, and we're ready to rumble. I am going to go ahead and start off and just break both of her Magnemite and hope that I OKO them. Steelix is a little bit tougher and eats a Citrus Berry after a couple brick breaks. We are in a pinch here, but even so, I decide to take a little risk-a-roni. If I land this, we win. If I miss, Can Opener's done. Oh, thank you. I swear this is the luckiest Nuzlocke I've had. And just like that, we are 6 badges into this run. Can you believe it? Now it's time for the adventures of Sens and Lance. And we're required to encounter the red Gyarados. I had to catch it because I always have since I was a kid. But it's still not part of Ash's team, so we can't use it. Down we go to Team Rocket's secret basement hideout, where we'll have a couple boss battles. Up first is Petrol. who has a Eradicate with a scary face. Ooh. Then Lance helps us out in a double battle with his Dragonite. The world is safe from Team Rocket for now, so I'm gonna go challenge Price, the Ice-type gym leader. Price leads with Seal, and I take my chances at one-shotting it with Brick Break. You may notice I didn't follow the level cap on this battle because this gym is actually a lower cap than the previous one. So this will forcibly be the only exception in this Nuzlocke. I'm predicting Dugong has higher defense, so this time we're using our new move, Close Combat. I'm not worried about the lowering stats because Piloswine is ice and ground type, meaning this punch is sending it into next week. Only one more badge to go. But first, it's time to put Gary in his place and save the world from Team Rocket once again. This time we're playing dress up and infiltrating the Rocket's next hideout in style. We pummel our way through to the director and beat... Oh, what do you know? It's Petrol. We're almost there, folks, and joining us will be the last addition to our team, only found in the Safari Zone. It's time to go back to the mountain area, and we take our chance at catching a Larvitar. Keurig is now officially the last member to join the squad, and he is just in time to help us out with this next big rival battle. Now, don't underestimate the power of this little guy. His first fight went pretty well, but I don't want to get too cocky, so we make the switch to the can for Sneasel. The Brick Break takes care of it, and we keep him in for the Quilava, which goes down in one hit as well. Microwave comes in for the Haunter, but we get confused, trapped, and Haunter laid a curse. Luckily, the wave hit the next turn, so we're safe. Gary sends out a can, and luckily we have just the tool to handle this. After beating Gary, we had some very close calls in this building. See Exhibit A. No biggie though, we have arrived at the elevator where Ariana challenges us. I know we're close to the end, so I'm not going to bore you with these battles anymore unless they're big ones. Skipping through the next battle at a moderate pace, we face Archer, who nearly knocks out Keurig. But we were able to make it out alive successfully with one Hyper Potion. One major problem I noticed was Pichu was not evolving. He trusted me according to the friendship checker in Goldenrod, just not enough to become a Pikachu yet. Funny enough, watching Keurig punish a Raichu may have given him the confidence he needed to finally evolve. We pressed through the ice cave and eventually made it to Claire of Blackthorn City, where our freshly evolved Pikachu is perfect to help us out. First, we lay the toxic spikes for any extra bit of damage we can get, and then it's simple. We switch to Pikachu because Gyarados is 4 times weak to electric moves. After being hit with the bite, we retaliate with Thunderbolt, and it's just what I was afraid of. It wasn't enough. But by the skin of our teeth... That Twister just left me with 2 HP. Even after the Hyper Potion, Pikachu is faster, so we get the knockout. From now on, all of her Pokemon should get poisoned. But her Dragonairs do know Shed Skin. It seems like Microwave got it locked in. Yes, it flinched! Oh my god, it flinched! Poison damage, flinching, and just overall fantastic luck during this battle. We're down to the last Pokemon. Hydro Pump is very scary, but it doesn't do nearly enough to take Microwave out. I decide to do some pivots while it's taking poison damage, but it does have a Citrus Berry, so I try to hit it hard. We were so close, but just a sliver of HP remains. Switching into Can Opener for the grand finale, and of course, she uses her last full restore. Even with lowered accuracy, I take my chance at a Brick Break, and if this close combat lands... Yes! We win. It took some convincing, but Claire finally gave up the last badge. Now, for one of the hardest challenges in SoulSilver, the Kimono Girls. Not only did they send Gary out crying like a child, they were waiting for me, and I need to battle each one of them without any breaks, which means no Pokemon Center either. Each of them have an evolution, pretty much all of them, at least up to the 2nd gen. And first is my personal favorite, Umbreon. I swapped to Can and hit a close combat. 1 down. Espeon is up next, and basically this is the order it went. Psychic, Psychic, Air Slash, Potion, and repeat that like 2 times. That was enough to get through this thanks to Microwave. Going into Flareon, my only hope is an Earthquake from Keurig. But this requires me to swap first, tank a Fire Blast, and get this, take another Fire Blast before attacking. Luckily, Keurig made it out alive, and we're moving on to Jolteon. I decided to use Bayleaf for this battle, starting with Poison Powder and throwing in a couple energy balls in the mix. Well, I put a potion on Keurig because we may need him in a minute. The poison is too much for Jolteon, and another evolution is defeated. This is the final Kimono Girl, and she has a Vaporeon, so we immediately swap to Can Opener and swing for the hills. That's when she retaliated with Surf, and let me tell you what, I nearly cried. So we got our pal out of there and finished this portion with an energy ball from Blender. This part is always so nostalgic for me. Obviously, we can't use it, but the whole scene with finding and capturing Lugia is a classic. Call me a casual, but Lugia is my favorite legendary Pokemon. Let me know what yours is in the comments. And just so it didn't feel left out, I gave it a fitting nickname like the rest of the team. It has been a long journey, but we finally take our first step in the Kanto region. Up ahead is what is called Victory Road, where only the best trainers are allowed to pass through. Speaking of, we run into Gary for the last time in this challenge. And here's how the battle went. Keurig finally has some power to him, and it shows with a rock slide on Gary's Sneasel. We're switching to Heracross for Magneton, and after a Magnet Bomb, we knock it out with Brick Break. Microwave avoided Golbat's Air Cutter, but our Hypnosis also missed. Although we get confused, Extrasensory lands a crit and Golbat is down. The little Cyndaquil we once knew is now a fiery beast. We soften it up with Extrasensory, get a little too close for comfort in the red zone, and after a back and forth with Lava Plume and Air Slash, we end up finishing the Typhlosion. One more heal up for the Microwave and we Air Slash the Kadabra. He disables our move, but we have other options for the finish. This is the last Pokemon between us and the Pokemon League. Confuse Ray lands, and Microwave hurts itself in confusion. Haunter uses Curse, which cuts its HP in half, and that's enough for us to luckily snap out and land an Extrasensory. GG Gary, smell you later. We made it. Ash's team and I actually made it to Indigo Plateau. It took a lot of perseverance and definitely some luck, but here we are. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you. This place is a little intimidating, but at this point, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. So let's get it. We walk through the doors to meet the first member of the Elite Four, Will. Will is going to be tough since he's a Psychic type trainer, and we don't have much to combat that. It's the Battle of the Birds to kick us off. Microwave learns Shadow Ball, and this does a great deal of damage. Psychic barely moves us, and we follow up a couple more times to push past the full restore. Smoochums comes out, and Fly does about half damage. We take a super effective Ice Punch and rely on this next move to hit. Microwave clutches up and takes the Jinx out. We're leaving her in with a top off for Executor, and it takes a couple more tries, but we put it to sleep and start plucking away until it's KO'd, and the Reflect is gone. One by one, Will's team is falling apart. Slowbro goes down, and his Xatu puts Microwave in a really tight spot. But we come back swinging and come out of the first Elite Four battle victorious. It's no time to celebrate yet because Koga is in the next room. We do have a lot of move type advantages since he's a poison type trainer. And as you can see, Microwave is sitting pretty so far, but Fortress is a bit tankier, so I initially switched to Keurig in hopes that Earthquake will hit for a lot. And it does not. But we whittle it down enough to crunch it on out of here. The bad part is he did like Toxic Spike, so it will make the remainder of this battle a pain in the butt. But Venomoth is his next pick, so our Stone Edge attack is a one-hit KO. Muck uses Minimize, making it a lot harder for our little K-Cup to land a hit, but eventually a super effective Earthquake nails him. Crobat comes out, and this one raises his evasiveness as well. Although Stone Edge lands, it only does about half, and Crobat eats a Citrus Berry. Wing Attack leaves me in shambles, and Koga hits me with a big oof after I couldn't finish the job with another Stone Edge. So I pull Keurig with the risk of him using a full restore, and he does, but it doesn't matter. Ash bodies Koga any day of the week. This is where things start to heat up. We only have 2 more opponents, and up next is Bruno, who has all fighting type Pokemon except for his Onix. In this battle, we start by laying Toxic Spikes so all of his Pokemon will get poisoned upon entering. We avoid the dig by switching into a Flying type, which is perfect because both Flying and Psychic moves are super effective here. Hitmonchan comes in and gets poisoned. We fly to buy time and avoid a potential T-Punch, but it comes in the next turn anyway. We end up healing and put it to sleep so we can KO him with 2 Psychic attacks. Onyx is up, and I'm surprised the poison actually worked on Onyx. But anyways, we switched to Blender, who recently learned Giga Drain. See ya, Onyx. And hello, walking face guy. Hitmonlee flies into a wall of all things, and poison drains the last of its HP. His ace, Machamp, is the last barrier between us and another dub. I have Microwave go for a fly, and I'm gonna be honest. I did not expect him to use Rock Slide, nor did I expect it to hit while we were in the air. This is super effective and leaves us vulnerable to one more attack. Rest in peace to a Pokemon that carried the team on his back for the better part of this Nuzlocke. You will not be forgotten, Microwave. Bayleaf is next to fend off this 4-armed fighter, and long story short, we weren't doing so hot, and Machamp popped a full restore. So we switched into Can Opener, and a couple turns later, we put the aerial to his ace, claiming victory over Bruno of the Elite Four. Only one more person stands between us and Lance the Dragon Tamer. It is none other than Karen of the Elite Four. We're dishing out the Crockpot special with some toxic spikes for everyone. Umbreon is getting evasive, but we land a poison jab. Another double team, and now he's very hard to hit. We're forced to heal up and eventually U-turn out into Can Opener. I went for the close combat just in case she popped a full restore, and she didn't, so it's more than enough to KO the Umbreon. We're subbing in Keurig for Murkrow, and after eating a feint attack, we dish out a Stone Edge that knocks out the bird. Vileplume is up and Crockpot is back in. Petal Dance hits us for a crit, and once we get back up in HP, we drop some more toxic spikes. The U-turn hits successfully and Can Opener is back in. Our fighting bug is paralyzed and getting barraged with petals, but we do have a heal for that, and since Vileplume is confused, I pray she hurts herself while we set up for the next mon. Unfortunately, this put us in a really bad position. I was able to bounce back and take her out with Heracross, but I am not a huge fan of the Pokemon she's putting in front of us. My only shot at winning here is an Earthquake, if I can survive long enough to attack. My soldiers are falling quickly at the mercy of Karen's Houndoom, until it was just like old times. Blender and I, we were so close. And with that ends a triumphant run as Ash on SoulSilver. I gotta keep it honest with y'all because I did lose to Karen, but I did replay the last battle for Science and did make it to Lance, but he would have stopped us anyway. So that leaves the question, do you think Ash is strong enough to beat the Johto region? Let me know down in the comments if you end up trying this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.